"You're coming with me?" said the cowboy when he saved an Apache girl from being sold by her father. The market square of Red Mesa Station was packed the way it always got on trade day. People came in from far ranches and mining camps, carrying dust on their boots and hope in their pockets. Above the wooden storefronts, metal antenna towers blinked soft blue lights. Solar cloth awnings flapped in the hot wind. A few hover carts floated inches off the ground, humming like lazy bees, while real horses stamped and snorted beside them. Red Mesa sat on the edge of a wide alien prairie where the grass grew silver at night and the sky carried two moons. It was a frontier town on a far colony world, built by humans who missed old Earth stories and wanted to live them again. They wore hats, belts, and boots, but also carried wrist radios and small energy tools. Out here, people mixed the old ways with the new because survival demanded it. A lone cowboy rode in from the West Road just after noon. His name was Cole Mercer. He was tall, lean, and quiet, with a sun-worn face and eyes that watched everything without giving away much. He kept his hat low. His horse was real, not a machine, and that alone made some people look twice. Cole had a saddlebag, a rolled blanket, and a small pack clipped near his knee, a power cell for his rifle and a beacon he hoped he would never need. He came for supplies. That was what he told himself. Water filters, a few bolts, maybe a coil of wire. Then he would head back to his little spread beyond the ridge and keep living alone, the way he had for a long time. But the moment he entered the square, he felt something was wrong. It started as a sound, sharp voices near the trading post. Then he saw the crowd. People were gathered in a tight circle, not the friendly kind that watched a street musician, but the uneasy kind that watched trouble. Cole tied his horse at the rail and walked closer. He did not push, he did not speak. He simply moved like a man who belonged anywhere he stood. Inside the circle, a man was arguing with two merchants. The man's clothes were dusty and patched. His hands shook as he waved a paper contract. His face was hard, but his eyes looked tired and desperate. Beside him stood a girl. She could not have been more than 16. She was slim and small, but she stood straight like a young tree in a storm. Her dark hair was braided, and a simple scarf covered part of her head. She wore a worn leather vest over a plain shirt, and around her neck hung a small pouch decorated with beads. Her eyes were dark, steady, and serious. Cole recognized the style. He had met Apache families who lived beyond the southern canyons. They did not trust Red Mesa Station much, and Red Mesa did not understand them. They kept to their own lands, their own rules, but everyone knew they were skilled, proud, and not to be insulted. The merchants talked fast. "Debt's debt," one of them said. "You took the loan." "You signed?" "I can pay," the man snapped. "Just give me time." "We gave you time," the other merchant replied. He nodded toward the girl. "This is what you offered." The man's jaw tightened. "It's the only way." The girl did not cry, she did not beg. She simply looked at the ground for a moment, then lifted her chin and stared at the crowd like she was memorizing every face. Cole felt a cold twist in his stomach. He had seen hard things on the frontier. People lost land, lost animals, lost family. He had seen unfair deals and cruel men, but something about this was worse than a simple argument. This was a line being crossed in front of everyone, as if the town had decided to look away. A woman in the crowd whispered, "That's his daughter." Another voice said, "He's selling her to cover debt." Someone else murmured, "It's legal in the outer colonies, contract labor. The merchants call it work service." Cole heard enough. The merchants held out a data slate. "Put your thumbprint here," one said. "The deal is done." The man looked down at the slate. His hands trembled harder. He swallowed, then reached forward. The girl's fingers tightened around the strap of her small bag. She did not move away, but her shoulders stiffened. Cole saw it clearly then. She was holding herself still because she refused to give anyone the satisfaction of seeing fear. Cole stepped into the circle. He did not draw his weapon. He did not shout. He just spoke in a steady voice that carried across the square. "Hold on." The merchants turned. The crowd shifted as if the wind had changed. One merchant frowned. "This doesn't concern you, Mercer." Cole kept his eyes on the data slate. "It concerns me." The man's face twisted. "You don't know my situation." Cole looked at him, calm and firm. "I know what I'm seeing." The merchant lifted his chin. "You want to buy his debt. You got the credits for that?" Cole reached into his coat and pulled out a small metal case. He opened it and revealed two bright crystal bars, refined ore from the western ridge. Clean, valuable, and hard to come by. The crowd made a low sound. Even the merchants leaned in. Cole said, "This covers the debt and a little more." The merchants exchanged glances. One of them snatched a scanner and checked the bars. His eyes widened slightly. "This is real," he admitted. The other merchant's smile returned, sharp and satisfied. "Fine, debt is cleared, contract is canceled." The man's shoulders sagged. For a second he looked relieved. Then his face hardened again, as if relief felt like weakness. He glared at Cole. "You think you're some hero?" Cole did not answer that. He looked past the man to the girl. She met his eyes. There was anger there and confusion too. She had been treated like a thing on a table, and now a stranger had paid to change the outcome. She did not know what that meant. Out here, kindness could hide traps. Cole spoke gently, but his words were clear. "You're coming with me?" A ripple moved through the crowd. Some people nodded as if that made sense. Others looked uncomfortable, as if they were not sure whether to approve. The girl's eyes narrowed. "Why?" she asked. Her voice was quiet but strong. She spoke with an accent shaped by her community, but her English was clear. Cole answered honestly. "Because you don't belong to a contract, and you don't belong to anyone who would trade you." The man barked a harsh laugh. "Now you're claiming her?" Cole turned slowly to face him. His voice stayed low, but it carried like a warning. "No, I'm getting her away from you." The father's hands curled into fists. For a moment, Cole thought he might swing. But the man's courage was thin, built more on anger than strength. He saw the crowd watching. He saw the merchants already satisfied. He saw the lawman near the porch, hand resting on a stun baton, eyes tired but alert. The father's fists loosened. He spat into the dust. "Do what you want," he muttered. Then he turned and walked away without looking back. The girl watched him go. Her face did not change, but her eyes followed him until he disappeared between two wagons. Something heavy settled over her expression, like a door closing inside her chest. Cole did not touch her. He did not grab her arm. He simply nodded toward his horse. "Come on," he said. "We'll talk somewhere quieter." She hesitated. The square felt loud now. People returned to their buying and selling, trying to pretend they had not just watched something terrible. But whispers followed the girl like dust. Cole could feel eyes on his back. The girl finally stepped forward. Her boots moved with care, ready to run if she had to. She walked beside Cole, not behind him. That told him something important. She refused to be led like a prisoner. They reached the rail where Cole's horse waited. The animal flicked its ears calm. Cole pulled down his canteen and offered it. The girl looked at it, then at him. "What's in it?" "Water," Cole said. "Filtered." She took it, drank 2 small sips, then handed it back. "Thank you," she said, but her voice stayed guarded. Cole untied the horse and led it toward the edge of town where the corrals and repair sheds stood. He did not want to ride out of Red Mesa with a crowd behind him. He wanted space, time, and a plan. As they walked, he asked, "What's your name?" She hesitated, then said, "Nita." "Nita," Cole repeated. "All right." They reached a quiet patch behind an old storage barn. Wind rattled loose boards. Above them, a drone flew in a wide circle, doing security scans for the market. It blinked red once, then moved on. Cole leaned against the rail and kept his hands visible. "I'm Cole." Nita studied him like she was reading a map. "You paid them," she said. "Why?" Cole took a slow breath. He could not explain everything, not yet. Some truths needed careful handling. But he could give her the simplest one. "Because I've seen what happens when good people look away," he said, "and I'm not doing that again." Nita's eyes softened for a second. Then they hardened again, like she remembered she could not trust softness. Before she could speak, Cole noticed something else. At the far end of the square near the fuel pumps, 2 strangers stood watching them. They were not dressed like ranch hands or miners. Their clothes were clean, gray, and fitted. Each wore a small collar device at the throat, private comm gear. Their eyes followed Nita, not Cole. Cole's skin tightened with warning. Those men had not been watching the debt deal. They had been watching the girl. One of them lifted a hand slightly, as if speaking into a hidden mic. Cole's mind moved fast. Nita's father selling her might have been desperation, but it might also have been pressure. Someone could have promised him debt relief to hand her over. Someone with power and with a reason. Cole pushed away from the rail. "We're leaving now," he said. Nita stiffened. "Why?" Cole did not lie. "Because I think someone else wants you, and I don't think they want you for good reasons." Nita's breath caught. She glanced toward the square, and her gaze landed on the 2 gray-clothed men. Her face changed in a way Cole could not miss. Recognition, fear, anger. "They found me," she whispered. Cole swung into the saddle and held out his hand, not forcing, only offering. "Get up," he said. "You can decide what happens next, but not if they grab you first." Nita stared at his hand for a heartbeat, then grabbed it and climbed up behind him with quick, practiced movement. Cole clicked his tongue. The horse stepped forward. They moved along the back alleys of Red Mesa Station, away from the main road. Cole kept his pace steady, not panicked. A calm escape was always safer than a loud one. Behind them, the market noise continued, but Cole could feel the shift like thunder far away. As they reached the last row of buildings, the twin moons became visible in the bright afternoon sky, pale circles above the horizon. And just beyond the town fence, the alien prairie stretched wide and empty, waiting. Cole guided the horse toward open land. Nita held onto the back of the saddle, her weight balanced, her breath controlled. She did not cling like a helpless passenger. She rode like someone who had spent time on a horse. Cole glanced back just enough to see the edge of the square. The two gray men were moving now, stepping fast, splitting apart to cut off different routes. Cole's jaw tightened. Whatever Nita was, whatever secret she carried, Red Mesa Station was no longer safe. And somewhere beyond the ridge, under those strange skies, the truth was waiting. Cole leaned forward and whispered, more to himself than to her, "All right, Mercer. Don't fail this time." The horse broke into a faster trot, and the frontier swallowed them whole. The prairie stretched wide and endless beyond Red Mesa Station. Silver grass moved slowly under the wind, shining like waves under the sun. Cole guided his horse along a narrow trail that only experienced riders knew. He avoided the main roads because he did not want to be followed easily. Behind him, Nita sat quietly, holding the back of the saddle. She did not speak for a long time. Her silence was not fear alone. It felt like she was thinking carefully about every choice she had made and every step she was taking now. Cole finally slowed the horse near a line of rocky hills. He listened for sounds behind them. Nothing but wind and distant bird-like creatures calling from the sky. "We rest here," he said. He dismounted and helped Nita down, but she barely needed his support. She landed lightly on her feet and stepped away, scanning the land like someone trained to survive. Cole untied a small pack and pulled out dried food and another canteen. He handed her a piece without forcing conversation. Nita accepted it after a short hesitation. "Thank you," she said again, softer this time. They sat under the shadow of a large rock formation. From there they could see the distant road leading back to Red Mesa. Dust moved slowly across the horizon. Cole waited before speaking. He knew pushing too fast could break trust. After a while, Nita asked, "Who were those men?" Cole shook his head. "I was hoping you could tell me." She stared at the ground. "They came before," she said quietly. "Near our lands, they asked questions, they wanted to see me." Cole's attention sharpened. "Why?" Nita hesitated. "My grandmother said they were not good people. She said they watched like hunters." Cole felt a heavy weight settle in his chest. Frontier hunters usually wanted land, resources, or power. None of those things ended well for people caught in between. He studied her carefully. "What makes you special to them?" Nita looked up, her eyes uncertain. "I don't know everything, but my people, we guard places, older than humans." Cole thought about the strange lights in the sky and the alien ruins scattered across the colony world. He had seen some from a distance, but never gone close. Many people avoided them because machines still worked inside and nobody understood how. "You mean alien sites?" he said slowly. She nodded. Before he could ask more, a faint buzzing sound filled the air. Cole stood instantly, eyes searching the sky. A small drone passed far above, moving fast toward the north. It did not slow or scan them. Still, his hand rested near his weapon. "They are searching," Nita said quietly. Cole nodded. "Then we keep moving." They traveled again, heading toward a canyon region where tall stone walls cut across the prairie. Cole knew hidden paths there. The land grew rougher, filled with strange rock formations that glowed faintly blue at their edges. Alien minerals sometimes showed through the ground, reminders that this world was not Earth. As the sun lowered, they reached an abandoned mining camp. Rusted machines stood silent. Broken solar panels leaned against the ground. The place felt forgotten. "We stay here tonight," Cole said. He checked the buildings carefully before allowing Nita inside. Safety came first. He found an old generator still working on low power. A faint light flickered inside the main structure. Nita walked slowly through the room, studying old tools and faded pictures left behind by miners. People leave things, she said. They do, Cole replied. Sometimes because they choose to, sometimes because they don't get the chance to come back. She turned toward him. You speak like someone who left something behind. Cole did not answer immediately. He focused on lighting a small cooking heater. After a moment, he said quietly, I used to travel with someone, a partner. We took jobs protecting caravans. One day, I made the wrong call. Someone got hurt. Nita listened without interrupting. I promised myself I wouldn't stand by again, he finished. Nita's expression softened slightly. That is why you helped me. Yes. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling metal sheets against the walls. Night arrived quickly on the prairie, and the twin moons rose, casting silver light through broken windows. After they ate, Nita spoke again. My grandmother told stories about the old guardians. She said some people carry a connection inside them. Machines from before listened to them. Cole looked at her. You think you're one of those? She hesitated, then nodded slowly. Sometimes when I am near certain places, I feel something, like a voice without words. Before Cole could respond, a sudden crash echoed outside. Both of them froze. Footsteps approached the building, careful, quiet, controlled. Cole motioned for Nita to stay behind a metal cabinet. He moved toward the doorway, rifle ready but lowered. The door slid open slightly, and a figure stepped inside. It was one of the gray-clothed men from Red Mesa. Cole reacted instantly, pushing Nita back while raising his weapon. Stop right there. The man lifted his hands calmly. His expression remained cold and confident. You don't need to do that, he said. We only want to talk. I don't believe you, Cole replied. The man's eyes moved toward Nita. She belongs with us. She is important to a project that will help many people. Nita stepped forward despite Cole's warning. You lied before, she said firmly. You tried to take me. The man smiled faintly. We tried to protect you, Cole shook his head. You tracked her across half the prairie, that's not protection. More footsteps sounded outside. Cole's instincts screamed danger. He grabbed Nita's arm gently but firmly. Back exit, he whispered. They ran through a side door into the cold night air. Another figure stood near the corral, blocking the path. A stun weapon lifted toward them. Cole moved fast, knocking the weapon aside with his rifle and pulling Nita toward a narrow gap between rocks. They ran downhill, boots sliding over loose gravel. Energy shots flashed behind them, hitting stone instead of flesh. The canyon echoed with sharp sounds. Nita kept pace without complaint. She moved like she had trained for this. They reached a narrow passage where glowing blue lines ran across the ground, alien markings carved into stone. Suddenly, the lights brightened. Nita stopped, breathing hard. It's reacting, she said. The ground hummed softly. Symbols flickered alive along the canyon walls, responding to her presence. The gray-clothed men slowed behind them, their confidence shaken by the sudden activation. Cole stared at the glowing lines. What is this place? Nita touched one of the symbols carefully. The light pulsed gently like a heartbeat. My grandmother called it a sleeping path, she whispered. A place that listens. The canyon filled with soft light, guiding them deeper into shadow and safety. Cole realized something important then. Saving Nita had not just changed one life. It had pulled him into a story far bigger than either of them. And whatever waited ahead was waking up because she had come back. The glowing canyon felt alive. Soft blue light moved across the stone walls like flowing water. Symbols formed and disappeared again, as if the rock itself was breathing. Cole slowed his steps but did not stop. Behind them, the gray-clothed men stood at the entrance of the passage, watching carefully but not following too close. They are afraid, Nita whispered. Cole glanced back. The men held advanced weapons, yet they hesitated. One of them spoke into his collar device, likely calling for backup. Then we use that, Cole said. Keep moving. The canyon narrowed, guiding them deeper between tall rock walls. The ground glowed faintly under Nita's footsteps, lighting their path. Cole noticed something strange. Whenever she stepped forward, the light became brighter, clearer, almost welcoming. You weren't joking, he said quietly. This place really responds to you. Nita nodded slowly, her eyes wide with wonder and uncertainty. It never did this before. I came here once as a child, but nothing moved. What changed? She looked at her hands, then toward the glowing path. Maybe because I returned when I needed it. They reached a wide opening where the canyon formed a natural circle. At the center stood a tall stone pillar covered in alien markings. The air hummed softly. Cole felt the vibration through his boots. He scanned the area for danger. No enemies yet. Stay alert, he said. Nita stepped closer to the pillar, drawn by something she could not explain. As she reached out, the symbols brightened, forming shapes like flowing lines and stars. Suddenly, a soft projection appeared above the pillar, a floating image made of light. It showed landscapes of the colony world long before humans arrived. Wide forests, alien creatures moving across plains, and shining towers built by unknown hands. Cole watched in silence. He had seen advanced technology before, but nothing like this. The projection felt calm, not threatening, like a memory being shared. It's showing history, he murmured. Nita nodded slowly. My grandmother said our people were chosen to remember old paths. Maybe this is what she meant. Before they could study more, footsteps echoed from behind. The gray-clothed men had entered the circle. Cole turned instantly, lifting his rifle. That's far enough. The leader raised his hand slightly, but his calm smile returned. You cannot keep her here forever, he said. This site belongs to our organization now. Cole's eyes narrowed. Funny, doesn't look like it agrees with you. The man ignored the comment and looked directly at Nita. You don't understand your importance. This technology can protect entire colonies. It can control weather shields, defense grids, and more. With our help, you could save millions. Nita's expression tightened. Or you could control millions. The man's smile faded. Cole shifted slightly, placing himself between them. You're not taking her. One of the agents stepped forward, raising a device that scanned the area. Energy levels rising, he said quietly. The pillar behind Nita glowed brighter, reacting to the tension. The leader spoke again, voice more urgent now. Girl, listen carefully. You are a key. Your people hid this knowledge, but times have changed. We need access. Give it willingly and nobody gets hurt. Nita shook her head. You tried to take me without asking. That tells me enough. The leader's eyes hardened. He gave a small signal. Instantly, two agents moved to flank Cole. Cole reacted fast, stepping sideways and pushing Nita gently behind him. A stun blast shot toward him, striking the stone and sending sparks flying. He fired back, aiming carefully to disable rather than harm. One agent stumbled, dropping his weapon. The canyon lights pulsed rapidly, reacting to the conflict. The ground trembled lightly. Stop! Nita shouted. Her voice echoed strangely, amplified by the alien system. The glowing symbols shifted, forming patterns around her like a shield of light. Everyone froze. The pillar released a deep tone, low and powerful, vibrating through the air. The projection changed, showing images of guardians standing watch over ancient structures. Nita felt something inside her mind, not words, but understanding. The system was asking for choice. Cole saw her face change. Nita, she stepped forward slowly. The light followed her movements. They want me to decide, she said softly. The leader of the agents took a step closer, hopeful. Yes, choose wisely. With us you can shape the future. Cole said nothing. He knew this moment belonged to her. Nita closed her eyes briefly, remembering her grandmother's stories. The old woman had warned that power without balance destroyed more than it saved. When she opened her eyes again, her voice was steady. This place is not a weapon, she said. It is a protector. The symbols flared brighter. The agents shifted nervously. Nita raised her hand, touching the glowing pillar again. The light spread outward, forming a wide circle around the chamber. A sudden pulse pushed everyone back gently but firmly, including the agents. Their equipment flickered, struggling against the ancient energy. The leader's calm mask finally cracked. What are you doing? Protecting it, she replied. The system responded instantly. A wall of light formed at the entrance of the circle, blocking the agents from advancing. Cole watched with amazement. He had helped her escape, but now she was leading the fight. You're doing good, he said quietly. Nita breathed deeply, focusing on the connection she felt. The system guided her, showing her how to activate protective barriers without harming anyone. Outside the circle, the agents realized they could not reach her. The leader's voice turned cold. You think this ends here? Others will come. Maybe, Nita said calmly, but not today. The ground hummed again and a new passage opened behind the pillar, a hidden path leading deeper into the canyon. Cole stepped beside her. Looks like it wants us to go, she nodded. Before leaving, she looked once more at the agents. There was no hatred in her eyes, only determination. You should leave, she said. This place does not belong to you. The barrier remained strong, forcing the agents to retreat step by step. Cole and Nita entered the new passage. As they walked, the opening closed behind them, sealing with soft, glowing lines. They followed the tunnel until it opened onto a high ridge overlooking the endless prairie. Night had fallen fully, and the twin moons shone brightly above. Cole exhaled slowly. "Well," he said, half smiling, "that was something." Nita laughed softly for the first time since they met. It was brief but real. "I think I understand now," she said. "I am not running anymore." Cole nodded. "Good, because whatever comes next, we face it together." Far below, distant lights moved along the horizon, vehicles searching, watchers waiting. But up on the ridge, under the silver sky, two riders stood ready for whatever the frontier would bring next. The wind moved softly across the ridge, carrying the smell of dry grass and distant rain. The twin moons hung low in the sky, casting silver light over the canyon below. Cole and Nita stood quietly for a moment after leaving the glowing chamber behind. Both of them understood that what had happened inside the canyon had changed everything. Far below, small lights moved like insects across the dark land. "They're still searching," Cole said. Nita nodded. "They will not stop easily." Cole rested his hands on the saddle and thought carefully. He had lived long enough on the frontier to know when danger was only beginning instead of ending. The agents would return with more people and stronger tools. The canyon might protect itself, but that did not mean the world outside would stay safe. "We need a plan," he said. Nita looked toward the horizon where the prairie stretched endlessly. "The system showed me something," she said quietly. "Not just memories, paths." Cole turned toward her. "What kind of paths?" "Places like this," she replied. "Old guardian sites across the world, hidden, sleeping, waiting." Cole let out a slow breath. "So this canyon isn't the only one." "No," Nita said, "and if the wrong people find them first." She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Cole understood. They rested until morning, taking turns keeping watch. When the sun finally rose, it painted the sky with deep orange and gold colors. The world looked peaceful, but Cole knew peace on the frontier rarely lasted long. They traveled along a narrow trail leading away from the canyon. Nita seemed more confident now. She rode without hesitation, guiding them through hidden paths she somehow knew. Around midday, they reached a small valley filled with strange crystal plants that reflected sunlight like mirrors. Cole slowed the horse. "You've changed," he said. Nita smiled slightly. "Maybe I stopped being afraid." Cole nodded. "Fear doesn't disappear. You just learn to walk with it." She considered his words carefully. "You speak like a teacher." He laughed softly. "Not a teacher, just someone who made enough mistakes to learn a few things." They continued riding until the land opened into wide plains again. Suddenly, a deep humming sound echoed from above. Cole looked up. 3 sleek air vehicles moved across the sky, descending toward the prairie ahead. They were not colony transports. Their shape was sharper, darker. "They found us faster than I thought," he muttered. Nita's grip tightened slightly. "They will try to take me again." Cole guided the horse toward a cluster of tall rocks for cover. He scanned the terrain quickly. Fighting in open ground would not end well. The vehicles landed in a wide circle, blocking several escape routes. Figures stepped out, wearing the same gray clothing as before, but now supported by armored drones. The leader approached slowly, hands behind his back. "You cannot keep running," he said calmly. "Every path leads back to us." Cole stepped forward slightly, placing himself between Nita and the agents. "We're not running," he said. "We're choosing where to stand." The leader's eyes flicked toward Nita. "You already know what you must do. The system listens to you. With our resources, you could unlock its full potential." Nita felt the weight of his words. For a moment, doubt crossed her face. The promise sounded tempting, helping many people, protecting colonies. But then she remembered the way they tried to take her without choice. "I will not give power to people who use fear," she said firmly. The leader's patience finally broke. He signaled forward. Drones moved closer, scanning the ground. Energy fields flickered into position. Cole's hand tightened around his rifle, but before he could act, Nita stepped forward. "Wait," she said. Cole looked at her, surprised. She walked slowly toward the agents. The ground beneath her feet began to glow faintly. The canyon system was far behind them, yet the light followed her anyway. "What are you doing?" Cole asked quietly. "Trust me," she said. The leader watched with growing interest. Nita closed her eyes and reached inside herself, searching for the connection she felt earlier. The air around her shimmered slightly. Symbols of light appeared, floating gently like dust in sunlight. Suddenly, a deep sound echoed across the prairie. The ground trembled. From beneath the earth, lines of glowing energy spread outward like roots of a tree. Hidden technology awakened beneath the surface. A protective field formed around Nita and Cole, pushing the drones backward without harming them. The agents stared in shock. "This place is also a guardian site," Nita whispered. "The system is everywhere, not just one canyon." Cole smiled faintly. "Looks like you brought your own cavalry." The leader's face hardened. "You don't understand what you are starting. Humanity needs control." Nita shook her head. "Humanity needs balance." She raised her hand again. The glowing field expanded, forcing the agents to retreat step by step. Their weapons flickered and powered down as the ancient technology disrupted them. Finally, the leader gave a frustrated signal. The drones pulled back. The agents returned to their vehicles. "This is not over," he warned before boarding. The ships lifted into the sky and disappeared into the clouds. Silence returned to the prairie. Nita lowered her hands slowly. The glowing light faded, leaving only the wind and sunlight behind. Cole exhaled deeply. "Remind me never to underestimate you again," she laughed softly. "I am still learning." They stood quietly for a moment. "What happens now?" Cole asked. Nita looked toward the distant horizon where new lands waited. "I think we travel. We find the other sites before they do." "Protect them?" Cole nodded. That sounded like a long road, dangerous, uncertain, but meaningful. He mounted his horse and offered his hand. This time Nita took it without hesitation. They rode forward together across the endless prairie, not as rescuer and rescued, but as partners. The sun rose higher behind them, casting long shadows ahead, shadows that stretched toward new adventures, new battles, and a future neither of them had expected. And as they disappeared into the golden light, the frontier felt larger, brighter, and full of possibility.